It's up to him. He gave me that opportunity to fight him. It's only right that if that's what he want to do, I'll give it back to him. Outside.
They're fighting Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford 2. The
rematch between Crawford and Errol Spence heating up, and this time it's personal. Their first fight in July 2023 left no doubt about who ruled the ring. Crawford delivered a stunning performance, dominating Spence in what many thought would be a close back-and-forth war. Instead, it turned into a one-sided beating, with Crawford dropping Spence 3 times before stopping him in the 9th to become the first undisputed welterweight champion of the 4-belt era. Now, both men have moved up to 154 pounds, but the story is far from finished. Talks of a rematch are getting serious, and both fighters are already firing early warning shots.
And why not? If Crawford want to challenge himself to be great, let him try to be great, So, what I'm saying, I'm with it. So, I'll be going for Bud. If he fight Canelo, I'll be going for him.
Errol Spence Jr. is on a mission for redemption. He's been honest about what went wrong in the first fight and says he's doing everything possible to make sure it doesn't happen again. In recent interviews, Spence has talked about training harder, correcting his mistakes, and believing he can knock Crawford out in the rematch. He isn't just aiming to win, he's aiming to end it early. "This time, I'm putting him down," Spence said. "I've been focused on fixing what I didn't do right, and I'm going to show the world what I can really do when I'm at my best." But Crawford isn't concerned. Spence's new confidence almost seems to entertain him.
It's just immediate rematch clause?
I don't know if it's gonna be at 54 or 47, but I'm sure he's probably gonna push the weight up. But there's not gonna be no change in the decision. The performance still is gonna be the same. Might be even a little bit better. So he might want to watch out before he activate the rematch clause.
In an interview with sports analyst Stephen A. Smith, Crawford spoke openly about what it felt like to share the ring with Spence. He said Spence landed a clean shot early in the fight, one of his best punches, but Crawford barely felt anything. "I remember him throwing a big overhand left and catching me right on the button," Crawford said. "I thought to myself, this is it. I knew right that it was going to be a long night for him. That moment stayed with fans." Crawford summed up Spence's power in just 3 simple words. "This is it." Those words said everything. Crawford's message is clear. Spence doesn't have the power to hurt him. And if he can't hurt him, Crawford feels completely confident he can outbox him again.
I think, no disrespect, but I pick Crawford. A lot of skill. Power. I think he's really a smart fighter.
I think Crawford's gonna do a number on him. Stylistically, he's more diverse. He has better technique. He moves around more, and I love Spence. He's a great fighter, but Crawford is he knows how to.
Spence's record still shows 22 knockouts and 28 wins. He stopped top names like Kell Brook, Chris Algieri, and Yordenis Ugas. His power was respected before the Crawford fight, but after what happened that night, fans and fighters have begun to question whether Spence's strength is enough to handle someone like Bud Crawford.
My first, because I don't want us personally. We talking about what we want to see. I don't want to see it because I know what it's going to look like. The same as it looked last time.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Errol Spence wasn't the same.
What was wrong with him?
He looked slow. He looked he looked sluggish.
Why?
I can't tell you. I wasn't in camp.
At the division, he dominated for his entire career. All of a sudden, when it came time for this fight, he looked different. Why?
I wasn't in camp with him.
Crawford, on the other hand, came into 154 pounds after a 10-fight knockout streak. He won his debut in the higher weight class by decision, which led some to wonder if his knockout power will fully carry over at this weight. Still, he looked sharp, disciplined, and completely in control. He now holds the WBA super welterweight title, while Spence is ranked #1 by the WBC in the same division. Spence is expected to face Sebastian Fundora for the full WBC title later this year. If he wins, a Crawford-Spence rematch becomes even more likely.
Oh,
pounds. How the hell is he number one today? You may be excited about, Spence possibly getting back in the ring with Crawford, but I see this as another way of them trying to ice out my man Crawford. They are not going to give him the opportunity for that man to make history, undisputed in 3 weight classes. So you may see it as good news. I see it as bad news.
That fight would be massive. 2 champions, 2 belts, and all the pride from their first showdown on the line again. What makes this rematch even more intriguing is the contrast in their mindsets. Spence is determined. He believes he simply had a bad night the first time, and that a better version of himself can change the entire story. He's been working quietly behind the scenes, getting stronger and sharper. He wants to prove the first fight didn't show who he really is.
The key to success for Spence is nailing that weight situation. Seriously, in his last fight, he looked like he missed a buffet or two. People said he looked like a zombie who took a wrong turn into the boxing ring. I mean, really, he looked so drained that even the bottom feeders at 147 and 140 could have given him
Crawford remains calm and confident, feeling he has already proven his worth. From the opening bell to the last punch, he controlled Spence. To him, this was another opportunity to show the gap between them is too wide if a rematch occurs, which now seems likely. This fight will be one of the year's most talked about, not just for the titles or talent, but for the tension, pride, and the clash of revenge versus dominance.
Crawford, even though, fought twice, throughout the year, Crawford, was...
But look who he beat.
Undisputed.
Look who he beat. Look who he beat. What he did to Spence and how he did it. That's 3 fights to me. And it took 4 fights out of Spence, right? Yeah, I'm a fighter, so I can tell you when you get punished like that.
Yeah, I was there ringside watching the fight.
It takes a few
it was
years
different.
out of you don't see.
The feud between Crawford and Errol has escalated from trash talk to personal attacks, with the boxing world watching closely. Crawford isn't satisfied with just winning. He's targeting Spence's legacy. In a recent interview, he delivered a remark sharper than any punch, questioning whether Errol Spence even belongs in the Hall of Fame.
You know what I mean? That's a good win. I'm still a fan. I hope he do well. But once it got to the point where I moved up in weight and I'm in the same weight as Spence, it's just like, oh man, you ain't fighting nobody. You this, you that, you this, you that. So now they trying to blemish my accomplishment just to boost him up. I'm like, dude, you're not gonna do that. Because I can retire right now and be in the Hall of Fame. He couldn't. Everything that I've accomplished, he's still trying to accomplish. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him. I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the...
For a fighter like Spence, who once dominated the welterweight division with precise, controlled power, that statement cuts deep. This is the same Errol Spence who defeated top names like Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, Lamont Peterson, Kell Brook, and Chris Algieri. He unified titles and, until that night in Vegas, seemed nearly unstoppable. Yet Crawford, calm and confident, dismissed it. Spence doesn't have a Hall of Fame-worthy resume, he said, igniting a storm online.
Brook coming off of a loss, an eye injury. He beat Sean Porter.
In all fairness, he had to go over there to get that.
Like I said, that's a good win. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on him or,
I understand
things like that. But
right.
I honestly don't know if he make it to the Hall of Fame with the accolade.
Not everyone agrees with Crawford. Rising star Shocker Stevenson defended Spence, saying on the top women's boxing show, "I disagree. Errol had a great career. If it wasn't for Bud, he would have been undisputed. He earned every belt one by one. I think he's a Hall of Famer." Stevenson has a point before Crawford. Spence was the most feared man at 147, winning belts against real competition, not in vacant title fights or against hand-picked opponents.
Podcast, and he said that Errol Spence will not be a Hall of Famer. Can you just give me your thoughts on that?
I disagree.
You disagree? Why do you disagree?
I feel as though Errol had a great career. If it wasn't for Bud, he would have been undisputed. So he went and got every belt one by one by one. I think he's a Hall of Famer.
He defeated real champions to earn his titles. When it was time for a true undisputed clash, He showed up only to be beaten by a better man that night. But one night doesn't define a career. Crawford knows this, which is why his recent remarks feel less like critique and more like deliberate provocation.
Long enough, no Diddy, to automatically put him in the Hall of Fame. He was a very good fighter. If there was a Hall of Very Good, he would be going into that. But Hall of Fame, no. If you were in charge of writing a Hall of Fame speech for Errol Spence, and I was in charge of writing a Hall of Fame speech for Bud Crawford, my Hall of Fame speech, listing my credentials, listing my accolades for Bud Crawford, would sound a lot better than your speech.
This is psychological warfare. Crawford is doing what he does best, getting inside his opponent's head before the fight even starts. He knows Spence is plotting a comeback, that rematch talks are heating up, and that hitting Errol's pride is the fastest way to draw him back into the spotlight. And let's be honest, Crawford wants that rematch.
It's not if I'm open to it or not, it's, what's in the contract. And Errol gave me an opportunity and a shot at becoming the first male boxer, undisputed, in any division in the 4-belt era. And I honor, that. And if he was to come to me or activate his rematch.
Not just for belts or money, but for legacy. If Crawford beats Spence again, this time at 154, after all the talk, questions, and doubts, there will be no debate about who the king is. And if he can shake Spence before they even touch gloves, he's already halfway there. But the flip side, if Spence is serious about his comeback, these comments could fuel him. This isn't the same Errol from their first fight. He survived a near-fatal car crash, battled rust, and faced overwhelming challenges. Now he's returning with something to prove. Despite the pressure on Crawford, Spence remains dangerous. Inactive since July 2023, and now 35, he's not a washed-up fighter chasing a payday. He's been quietly training, rebuilding, and retooling. When he steps into the ring again against Sebastian Fender or Crawford, he'll carry vengeance in every punch. He wants to correct his mistakes and silence Crawford. If they meet at super welterweight, don't be surprised if Spence walks in like a man possessed. The question is, can Crawford handle that version of Errol?
Yeah, man, we definitely want that rematch, because a lot of what y'all fair weather fans don't understand is that this situation from Errol Spence, we never seen him get demolished like that. We obviously seen that it was something wrong. Nobody's not making up excuses or want to take anything from Terence Crawford. So that's why nobody ain't running away with the horse, you know what I mean? But we obviously knew that something was up.
Here's where it gets controversial. Crawford has been moving differently lately. After defeating Israel Madrimov by decision not KO in his 154 pounds debut in August 2024, he set his sights higher, Canelo Alvarez. A huge payday, a legacy fight, and a potential retirement-level capstone to an already stellar career. But is he overlooking Spence? If Crawford focuses more on chasing Canelo than defending his throne, he could enter the rematch underestimating a man who's been quietly honing his skills in the shadows. That's where upsets happen.
Back in that fight that it should happen, I think he's been out for a year, so maybe there was some ring rust as well. And also, styles make fights. That guy's got a bit of a difference. He's got some attributes that Canelo has, his explosiveness, his power, but he still has a different style than Canelo. So styles make fights. I feel like if Terence could get a little more busy, a little more active, it could do him better. And at that point, I really wouldn't put anything.
The truth is, Crawford is playing a risky game. He's provoking a fighter with nothing to lose. While mind games are part of boxing, Spence won't let them go unanswered. If the rematch happens, which looks increasingly likely, it won't just be about belts or records. It will be about pride, redemption, revenge, and Spence fighting to reclaim his soul. So keep talking, bud. Keep throwing those verbal jabs. Because if Errol Spence Jr. steps back into that ring, we could witness the angriest, most focused version of him yet.
Salty, considering Spence is his best career win? Is it jealousy over Spence's PPV success? Remember, Crawford's recent fight only pulled 200,000 buys. Spence has proven doubters wrong before, bouncing back from that crazy...
If that happens, all bets are off. Right now, Terence Crawford is riding high on his own hype. He's talking legacy, history, and generational greatness, and hyping a Canelo fight like it's a modern Hagler versus Leonard. But the truth is, Crawford's biggest and most meaningful fight isn't Canelo, it's Errol Spence Jr. full stop. This isn't nostalgia, it's reality.
Fight I want to see. I want to see Bud be great, but what better buffer to see if Bud's ready at 68 than the EJ rematch of 54 and 60? And how exciting would it be to watch Errol Spence he walks at 190. I'm 185 pounds right now. I'm 5'11". To think of me cutting
Crawford is spinning fairy tales, calling a fight with Canelo the biggest in boxing and citing old bouts like Whitaker versus Chavez to make his case. But this isn't 1993, and Crawford isn't Whitaker. He's a technician's favorite, a purist's dream, but most casual fans wouldn't recognize him in a grocery store. Make no mistake, Canelo is the star. Crawford is the side. Crawford's only successful pay-per-view in 17 years was against Errol Spence, and it was Spence who sold the fight. That wasn't just Crawford's show. It was a mega event fueled by Spence's following, unbeaten record, and years of build-up. Crawford performed brilliantly, but he didn't carry that event alone.
But yeah, it's definitely my call. The ball's in my court. What they say, I'm the ace.
So what's Crawford doing? He's clinging to that win, using it to boost his profile, and throwing shade at Spence. Claiming Errol Spence doesn't have a Hall of Fame resume is absurd. Spence earned every belt, defeated everyone in his path, and was one fight away from undisputed against Bud. He lost, yes, but it took Crawford nearly 2 decades to reach that level of opponent. Now, Crawford is chasing a payday. Despite his legacy talk, if that truly mattered, he'd be facing fighters like David Benavidez or David Morrell at 168, not skipping legitimate challenges to go straight for Canelo. It's a transparent legacy cosplay.
But weight can be used as an excuse and sort of say, I don't feel like it. Like, I'll go up for this guy, but not another guy. So, that's sort of the spirit. The language is very, more precise and very definitive. But the concept is, out of fairness, is, let's not be selective.
But here's the thing. Fans aren't buying it. His fight against Israel Madrimov drew just 200,000 buys. The undercard was solid, but no one cared. Crawford's drawing power is limited, and he's trying to ride Canelo's fame to inflate his own. He's skipping the line and pretending it's some noble, historic mission for the fans. It's not. Meanwhile, quietly preparing is Errol Spence Jr. He's been recovering, recalibrating, and planning his next move.
Crawford was very impressive against Madrimov. I don't care what people say. Oh, he was rubbish. He nearly got beat. He should have got beat. No, Madrimov is a very, very high-level fighter who asked a very, very high level of Crawford, and he provided a very, very high level in order to beat it.
But trust Spence sees everything. He hears the jabs, watches the interviews, and one thing is certain. He wants that rematch. When it happens, it won't be the same Spence who entered the ring drained and vulnerable. It'll be a man on a mission, with revenge in his chest and fire in his fists. Spence carries something Crawford will never fully understand. A chip on his shoulder the size of Texas. Calling him not Hall of Fame worthy is disrespectful. A calculated poke for headlines, but also dangerous. Crawford might think Errol is finished, that the rematch isn't needed, that the chapter is closed.
We in here working. Getting back on the mat. Getting back on the mat. Getting back on the mat.
But Spence isn't washed up. He's recharging. When the rematch happens, everything Crawford is avoiding will come full circle. The truth is, Crawford's real legacy fight isn't Canelo, it's Errol Spence. Why? Because that's the fight the public truly wants. It's the only one that answers the lingering question. Was Crawford just better that night? Or is he truly on another level above Spence? Right now, doubt remains. The first fight came with context Errol's health. The weight, the long layoff, the car crash, the eye surgery. Yes, Crawford dominated, but that domination came with circumstances.
Opinion at 154?
No, that could be a difference. Maybe it was the weight. Maybe it was the weight. Maybe it was something else that he's not talking about. You know, I would probably have to go with Crawford because he looked, but he is going up to a higher weight class. Remember, he started at one.
And let's get even more controversial. Crawford dodging Benavidez isn't any different from Canelo dodging him. Both talk legacy while avoiding the fighter who could force a real war. Canelo at least has the resume to back it up. Crawford? He's jumping from 147 to 168 without facing anyone in between. No Fiora, number Juro, no Andrade, no Charlo, no Plant. Just Madrimov, then Canelo. It's pure opportunism. But that's fine if he owned it. And remember, if Canelo truly saw Bud as dangerous, this fight wouldn't be happening. It's happening because Canelo views him as an easier payday than Benavidez. Plain and simple.
I told my boy Jazz, I already caught the biggest fish in Texas. About to get out here and get it in. Y'all see the water. I know who the #1 fisherman is. Even big fish get.
So while Crawford plays PR chess, the fight that truly matters is the one against Spence. He's the only opponent who can close the story. If Crawford wins again, it's Hall of Fame, undeniable greatness. But if Spence returns and beats him, the narrative flips Crawford's legacy, takes a hit, and the myth starts to crack. How do you think the rematch will play out?